You're my special friend.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Special Friends Podcast. It's your boy Wuzi, and I'm here with
Eareoke.
And we're back. Back at it again.
Back again. Guess who's back?
Okay.
Back.
The song?
I love friend. Eminem.
I know who.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yes, I know who Eminem is. Of course, I know that. But it was Shady's back. You said back again.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, who? Like, I'll try to put me up to say this. Anyway, but that's what's up. How you feeling?
Feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's another warm Saturday outside.
A warm?
Outside.
What's warm outside? It's
It's
definitely
been warm.
cold.
It's been warm all week.
It's not been warm.
I've been out multiple days this week, and the sun's been out. It's been warm.
There haven't been a day outside without a jacket for me. Period. Hands been cold every night.
I've been
Hands
wearing
cold
my
every morning.
Well, I don't be out in the morning like that. I probably don't leave till like 9:30 if I go out in the morning. But I've been just throwing on my little thin. I've just been throwing on my little thin like overshirt. I haven't been wearing like a coat or hoodie or nothing out.
Wow, you've adapted.
I guess so.
Because I have not. I try to leave the house with my polo on. I said, "Oh," turn right back around. I gotta find something that got some weight to it.
Also, I grew up in the desert, so it's much colder out there.
Yeah, it gets colder and hotter.
Mm-hmm.
I used to live in Arizona. They used to hail before school. That was a vibe. That was the first time I saw hail. I said, and we still had to go to school. Can you believe that? So ghetto. I said, I gotta wait at the bus stop with the hailing. We like waiting under the little thing for the bus to come. Ghetto. But I guess what can you do?
Thankfully, I didn't live too far away from school. No, we walked to all the only school I lived far away from was my junior high. And it, like, looking back, I guess it wasn't that far, but in the moment, it felt like
Forever.
yes.
Did you ever have one of those? Do you ever do those things where during like summer they'll have like the free breakfast at the school?
I went to summer school once for a week, and they were like, "You're not supposed to be here,"
Oh wow,
and so I only got to go for a week.
I never been through that. Definitely had to be at summer school. No, I had the reason I asked is because I remember when I used to go to my dad's house for, I think it was summer break. They had a program where you get free breakfast, but you had to go at a certain time. So I remember me, my sister, and my brother had to walk to that joint and go get that breakfast with the nasty sausage links. And we used to go there, eat the breakfast, and then go back. And we had to do that every day if we wanted. Not if we wanted breakfast. My dad would give us breakfast regardless, but he was like, "Y'all better get up and get that free breakfast."
I had free breakfast and lunch during like regular school, but I never had to go to summer school.
Yeah, no, it wasn't summer school. It was
just like
it was at home.
it was just offering them breakfast for the folks who needed it. Wow.
Yeah, it was a vibe. I remember going to that. I remember that walk being like, oh,
Because it's so
like,
early.
you want to eat? Because it was like a time window.
Yeah.
But if you don't get there early, you're getting like peanut butter and jelly crackers and stuff like that. So it's like, if you really kind of want something, you got to actually be there.
So what was nasty about the sausage?
I like sausage patties. I don't like sausage links.
Links.
The only sausage links that I like, shout out Farmer John. Them sausage links slap. I used to keep like 4 packs of them in the freezer. I had to stop because health reasons. But I'm going to get back because them slap and they affordable. So good. Farmer John sausage link. I'm a Farmer John fan.
Okay.
The bacon, the black pack, the thick cut slaps. The sausage slaps. My favorite. Don't really care for the tube sausage, but I do like sausage patties. So, but them ones was like, I don't know. They just didn't. You know when you cook it in a skillet, it kind of get that crispiness. They definitely don't cook it in a skillet. So it had like, and it looked. It's hard to explain. If y'all ever had like sausage that come in a microwave pack and it got that like brown look to it, and that's what it was. Oh. And it was just like, I would eat them sometime, but I was like, I can't keep eating this.
Yeah.
Every day.
In the moment eating it, it kind of hit your stomach like, yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
We used to be. I mean, but that's what it made me. That's what I thought of right now when you was talking about the desert and stuff like that. It's remind me of that. But
Of your time in the desert.
good days. We had a lot of good. Phoenix, Arizona has some of the best transportation in my life, in my opinion.
Really?
Like infrastructure wise, it's better now, but you can catch the light rail from my dad's house all the way to the mall, and it could be free if you don't get caught. So that's to be our big thing. Is like
We could have caught the Did our bus go from our house to the mall? I think we had to do one transfer. But our bus system, I don't know how it is now, but it was horrible.
that one thing about Fresno, great bus transportation.
Literally an hour between buses.
Hour? It must have a lot of people driving.
Well, it was this small town, and so they were just used to things moving really slow.
No,
They weren't used to like it become, because it was a retirement town first, and then it became more family. So they weren't used to like working families needing a bus or like to get to school.
that's what I'm starting to realize. A lot of people did not catch public transportation.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. On both sides of my family, my mom's side and my dad's side, I've always caught public transportation, and it's never been as ghetto as people made it seem.
No, I never. I mean, when I called transportation in LA, no, that's ghetto as it. But in Lancaster, it wasn't that bad. Because I started riding a bus when I was going to the junior college, and by then it was, instead of an hour between, it was 45 minutes. But it still was a wait, especially when you're trying to time out your classes. I have to leave like 2.5 hours earlier to just get to my class on time. It was bad.
But you have all that free time while you're on the bus.
Yeah, I used to read a lot more.
I used to
Definitely listen to like a lot more music. Except for those times where I had to stand the whole time. It was basically just music.
I had better work-life balance when I used to catch the bus.
Yeah.
It just felt different. It's something, I'm telling you, listen, if I get a little bit of money, it's a smidgen of money, I'm probably never driving again.
Okay.
I could just see myself getting like I remember I watch videos of like Gary Vee getting driven around all the time. Like that's all I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want like, yeah, do I like having cars? Do I like driving when I want to? Yes. But when I used to catch the bus to work or just to go hang out, or like when I was in Arizona when I don't have a car and I'll just catch the bus around town, it's just something about it. Like you meet people, you know, in Arizona, in Fresno, you did run into some issues where it might be a little crazy person on the bus. Here, I've definitely run into some crazies on the bus. But in Arizona, it was like a lot of people like going back and forth to work, going to the mall, something like that. And obviously it's hot. So it's like anytime I can get out of the heat,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that opportunity. And yeah, I've always had a good experience I've had some like good stories to tell for the bus. I used to, on my Facebook a long time ago, I used to every day, not every day, I would go like once
recap.
a week. Yeah, like tell like some of the crazy stuff I saw on the bus. And then I realized people was reading it, and I stopped because I'm like, I'm doing it like as a internal Bible type, like not Bible, like journal situation. Like, man, this lady was doing this, that, and people were like, I really enjoyed that. I said, y'all reading it? I didn't know y'all was reading it. I be forgetting that people be socially watching my stuff. I just be like, at least on Facebook at the time. Dang, that was a good time too. But yeah, I don't know. I think we need to do better on riding transportation.
I thought about that when I was thinking about getting up my car. Especially in Roseville, I think the buses out there, the routes and stuff are pretty good, and nobody be on those buses. But I'm like, I know it's a requirement because of policies and stuff. So I'm like, maybe I just drive a bus for Roseville. I feel like that's the easiest job. Literally, no one be getting on those buses.
Well, that's the thing too. Like by me, there ain't no real to get to the problem for me is that Sacramento's got a problem as far as early. I don't think nobody like to get up early in Sacramento because I had to be at work by 8, which is not even that late. But if I need to catch the bus, the bus that I would have to catch, there's basically no bus that exists for me to get there on time. I would have to catch an Uber somewhere else and then catch the bus, which defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to find me a route to catch the bus because I would prefer to catch it. First of all, save money. Second of all, y'all talking about the environment all the time. Save the environment. It just makes sense. And again, can it be ghetto? Absolutely. But for the most part, It was pretty cool.
Yeah. When I was catching a bus for college in Lancaster, I was leaving my house at 6:30, get into the bus stop around 6:45 to get to my 9:00 a.m. class on time.
That's not that bad.
What do you mean? We don't live in that's not a big city. It shouldn't take that out of that.
We used to catch the bus to school all the time, and it took us. I think we had to get on the bus. We had two opportunities. I think it was like 6 and 6:30, or like 6. Yeah, it was like 6:10 and like 6:40 or something like that. And if you catch the early one, you would get there enough time to get breakfast. You catch the other one, you would just get there when the bell rings. And you running across the street trying to get on campus.
There was no in between. Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. But that was all that happened this week for you. Not like that. I'm just asking. What was so funny?
What's happened this week for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why you say it like that? You don't gotta explicitly say it. I was just checking in.
What else happened this week? I went on a job interview this week.
How was that?
I don't think it went well.
Really?
No. I feel like I was underqualified.
Why? By the question they asked?
Yeah, so like I had prepared some questions to like practice with, thinking like will be in the realm of like what they'll be asking. Mm-hmm. They asked me none of those questions. I was like, wow. And then I've done like some tasks around the job, like the major job duties that was in the description. So I was like, I'm familiar with a lot of these things, but I've never worked directly in this like department before, but I've done the task of, whatever.
And you realized you hadn't done the task.
No, I had. It's just I never been in that direct role, so it was a little bit different. And so when they was asking me questions, it was like some terminology I wasn't understanding. And I was like,
what?
It was around fiscal stuff. So it was just like, oh.
What? Statements?
No, I knew stuff like that. It's some stuff there.
Reconciliation statements?
No. Let me see if I can remember one.
That's why you didn't get the job. I don't remember.
I know. I did take notes, though. I have my little notes. But yeah, it was some terms I didn't understand. And then I just was like, I've done most of the stuff. I haven't done payroll before. That was one of the things.
Payroll's a big thing.
Yeah. And so.
Payroll ain't no joke. You can't mess it up.
I know. So I was like, but overall, I was like, I know the basics, basically. Mm-hmm. But obviously, they want someone who been in a direct role under fiscal and all that stuff. So I was like, I don't know.
Why don't you just take a class? I'm pretty sure they got a class.
No, I can take classes, learn stuff.
What do.
I don't know if they're gonna even move me forward.
Well, I'm talking about not now. I mean, I'm
talking about
like
just in the future, like if I apply for something similar again.
Like,
Yeah. So I don't know how that's gonna turn out, but I was the first interview, so I was like, they usually forget the first interview on top of that, so I'm like, dang.
You think so?
Yeah. So we'll see. I also consider getting a Sam's Club card this week.
Okay.
Yeah, I started tasting. I started having a taste for this chicken I had at Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that was good. Like, I want some more of that. And so I texted my friend. I was like, hey, where'd you get it from? And she said, Sam's Club, like their brand. I said, I think I'm going to have to get a Sam's Club card so I can have this chicken again.
I admire y'all.
Why?
I admire y'all because I was it like a frozen product? Or
it was literally a frozen product, but it's by their brand specifically.
We've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
I do not like frozen food.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to learn that I don't even like I've been eating frozen food, but I'm just like starting to realize I don't even like prepared frozen food. I think maybe because I grew up on Hot Pockets and corn dogs and stuff like that.
Probably so.
Microwave burritos and stuff like that. And I was just really thinking about it like a few days ago. Somebody was like, yeah, I got these chicken tenders from Costco. They're really good. And I looked at them. I said, dang, I really don't like I really don't like anything that's in the freezer that's a protein. I don't know what it is, and I'm maybe I'm being like, I just cook so much now that I'm like, I'd rather just cook it. But I'm like, I was even like thinking about like I was at the store and they had a sale on chicken nuggets. I'm like, man, Tyson, you got some pretty good chicken nuggets. And I was looking at them, I was like, nah,
You should have got them that day.
Nah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I didn't. It's expensive.
I thought you had saw them on sale. The reason
they are on sale, but it's like in general, like I didn't realize how expensive everything's gotten.
Yeah, frozen chicken, quick like chicken tenders, chicken nuggets, chicken patties, like they all like just skyrocketed now.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe I just been so checked out because I was thinking about like some like fries and some chicken strips. I'm like, that sounds good.
I had that back in like October. That was my thing to just quickly, because I don't buy a lot of frozen stuff like that. Now I do because of my living situation, because you know that's where the only place I really have space at is the freezer a little bit, and it's been helping me. So I've been eating more frozen stuff as of recent, but typically I would cook it myself and then freeze it if I need to.
That's even crazier to me.
I know we had that conversation too.
I mean, like I said, listen, let's give context. Me and Ariel have had a conversation about freezing food. I believe in the concept that I would say I believe in it. I lean more to the side of like freeze the raw materials, like the vegetables after you chop them up and stuff like that, and then cook them as you go. She subscribes to the notion that we're gonna cook the whole meal and then freeze the meal after it's cooked and reheat it.
I do both.
But you've talked more about freezing the,
because sometimes I might make too much, or I just plan it out like, oh, I know I'm not gonna be able to like fully cook this. Like I'm not gonna have time. So, but I know I'm probably gonna eat this again at the end of the week. So I'll just freeze it and reheat it.
And to me, that's a wild concept. And not even like as a, like, I understand people do it, but I just feel like I never get, my big thing is I never get the same essence of reheating it. Like the only thing frozen, like I've only get the best results when I freeze like raw meat, raw vegetables. About it. Maybe hash browns.
I don't know. I get the full, I don't know. I reheat.
What are the things that you freeze? Let me figure it out. Maybe what's
Everything.
the dishes? What's the dishes? Because like I saw my grandma one time freeze some oxtails.
Yeah.
With gravy. That's the nuttiest thing I've ever seen. Like what do you like when you reheat it? There can't that it just don't look the same. It don't even look the same in the like.
What do you mean? You just
Man,
you just reheat
you
it
use
like
the microwave.
No, I use the air fryer. I use the stovetop. I use the oven. I don't use.
So what are you freezing? You saying you freezing everything, but like,
Yeah.
what is you freezing that you put in the air fryer and the oven and all that stuff?
Literally everything.
I need specifics.
So this past week, I froze the You worked at Save Mart, the zinger wings.
Okay.
So I froze some because I knew I was gonna eat all of them, and a few days later, I reheated them in the air fryer.
That makes sense.
Egg rolls. I did that recently with.
Bought egg rolls and froze them.
And then what else? Oh, I froze that barbacoa when I made the barbacoa in the crock pot, and then it was too much, and so I put it in portion sizes, and I ate off that for that whole week of November.
Why'd you freeze it?
Because it was so much, it would have gone bad.
Huh?
I made enough for my household, but they didn't eat any.
But you say you ate it for a week.
No, I said like the whole month. So like once a week I would have barbacoa.
Yeah. Interesting. I can understand the fried foods because air fryer makes sense.
What else have I froze recently?
But like, even
froze
then,
some
why
greens.
why would you freeze egg rolls that you did? Why did you buy too many egg rolls?
It was cheaper to buy more.
This is crazy to me.
I froze some collard greens. What else did I freeze recently? I don't know. I have the door is my section, and so I have just quick things. that I can just reheat throughout my week.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't see.
I used to make breakfast bowls when I lived by myself and freeze them.
I've tried the frozen dishes. Again, I don't get it. Like, I guess for me, if I'm gonna eat it for 3 days, why I'm gonna freeze it? You know, I'm the type of person. If I make something, I'm planning on eating it for 3 to 4 days in a row.
Well,
I'm not switching back. I'm not like one day I'm gonna eat this, next day I'm gonna eat this, next day I'm gonna eat this.
oh, I see what you're saying.
Like, if I'm making something, I'm eating it for 3 to 4 days.
I usually eat off something like for 2 days, and then after that, I'm like, I'm not gonna eat off this again. I'm gonna freeze it because I know it's still technically good. Like, it hasn't spoiled or anything, and I probably am gonna want it again in maybe a week or two. But also, you have to consider the household I live in too. I be having to freeze
sure
stuff.
You're doing this before that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 2 days is like probably a max for me. Except for there is this chicken from Sprouts, the one I had at my birthday party, that garlic chicken. I remember one day I ate off that. I took the chicken to work every day for a week, and I was satisfied eating the same lunch every single day.
I literally ate tacos for this whole week, so I was like, I can't imagine like halfway through the tacos, like I'm gonna have to freeze the rest of this. Like, it's like, no, we finna finish this off. We might even double it up for breakfast, for a lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
And then after I'm done with that, now we're gonna make the next meal. So like next week I'm eating tuna.
Yeah, I think I'm just
make a big old thing of tuna, boil some eggs.
got some privilege there.
Huh?
I think we both got different types of privileges. You have the privilege of like not getting tired of stuff. And I have the privilege of being like, I'm just gonna go to the store, make a new meal by the third day.
Cause that just sounds like a lot of work. I mean, I don't know. I think the thing for me is like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something about. I just don't get it.
I froze some fried rice.
Like, where did it start? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, where did this concept start from?
I used to do a lot of meal prepping when I lived by myself, so I would either raw or cook it and then put it away, and I just portion out all my stuff. So maybe that's where it started. I know my mom freezed a lot of stuff. She didn't freeze a lot of cooked stuff. Like, she would like put meals together raw. So she'll like chop, like you said, like chop off all the veggies, put it together, the meat, marinate it, whatever, put it together. But I don't remember her like freezing cooked food frequently. Sometimes, but I don't think that was like her regular thing.
Yeah, because it's like, who gonna go back for it?
I always go back for it.
I know you do. That's what I don't get. Like, I think, because I'm thinking about my freezer right now in my brain. Like, vision my freezer. I got some steaks in there.
Yeah.
Some chicken in there. Some frozen vegetables. Like some hash browns. Like, I literally have stuff that I'm gonna have to turn into something, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
So I just can't imagine like some whole body chickens. So I just can't imagine like, you know what, I'm gonna throw some taco meat in there, cause it's like I'm gonna be like, and I guess it's a thought too. Like, you're like, oh, if I want it again, I'm gonna make it again. But if I want it again, I want it, as my people say, fresh. I want it fresh. How you even storing it? Like, you put it in a baggie?
Yeah, so I usually sometimes I put in a container. I'll put like, you know, those black containers with the clear top.
Yeah.
Or I get like the
don't crack.
No, they don't crack. I do that, and I put a press and seal, and then I put the top on. Or I double up the baggie, the Ziploc baggie.
A lot. I'm gonna get off the topic, but I don't know.
I told you before, I freeze like the rotisserie chicken because I can't eat the whole rotisserie.
That's nutty.
By myself.
Did you at least debone it?
So I usually
or you put the whole body in there?
No. I usually put the leg quarter. I would take both the leg quarters, freeze those. I would eat both the wings that day. And then throughout the week, I would use the breast and the back chicken to make chicken salad, and I would eat the chicken salad throughout the week.
And you just go back for the chicken legs and when you hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to you. When the world blow up and people have to eat things that they don't want to eat, you're gonna be just at home.
I I want to be. I'm excited for that, but also I'm scared.
You gonna listen? You be out. You always have something to eat. Well, actually,
was it Nutty Buddies?
Yeah, for real. The limited life shelves, the shelf time of Nutty Buddies. On a random tangent though, like, have you ever seen those like shows where they be eating crazy food?
Yeah, all the time.
Is there like what's the craziest thing you've seen them like make on there? And I'm talking about animal wise, not like actual dish.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't like when people eat rats.
Okay, that is pretty nuts.
I never understand it.
And
they be like, oh, it's different than like New York rats because New York rats are like city rats. They're like, these are wild rats, so like they're eating like off the land. They're not eating like junk food and like I'm like, but doesn't matter. They're still rats.
I mean, if it was on a taco, would you eat it? If you didn't know.
If I didn't know, probably. But afterwards, I'll be so sick.
Really? If they told you after?
Yeah. I
always think about it. I'm like, if I could put on a taco, I might eat it with some cilantro or something on it. I don't know. I was like, once you put the vehicle is so different. First, I watched a video of this dude in Louisiana. Sorry, Peter. I watched this video in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And this dude's eating this thing called nutria, and it looked like a beaver, but without the beaver tail.
I've heard of that. Okay.
And I watched him break it down and turn it into some like a roast.
Okay.
And I was looking at that roast. I said, I ain't gonna lie, you put that on my plate, I probably would have tore it up. It looked like it was good, and the dude ate it, and he said it tastes good. And I'm just like, we're interesting people. Like, cause here, like, I was watching a video of this guy in the Faroe Islands, Faroe Islands. I don't know about how you pronounce it. Probably pronounced differently, but they're talking about they're talking about the foods that they eat naturally. And one of the ones that they eat naturally is dolphin.
Okay.
So he had a hunk of like dolphin meat, and it looked like a chuck roast on the counter. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna make it for you. He cooked it up.
So is it like fishy or is it?
He says beefy.
Wow.
It's a mammal.
Oh, right. Wow.
So I was watching it, and he was like eating it. He was like, this has like a strong beefy taste. And they're just munching on it. And I'm just thinking to myself, I said, I don't know how I feel. Like, it's their what word would I use? They're like natural food, kind of like how some people eat like whale and stuff like that. But it's just like, it's so like foreign to us, but to them it's like, nah, I was like, grew up. It's like they said like one dolphin will feed the town for a couple of days or something like that. And they don't eat it all the time, but it's like when they get the ability, they do. And they like a lot of times they eat like a lot of seafood because they're islands, so they'll like get mussels and like all different sea creatures. I'm just like thinking to myself, I said, it's so weird.
I mean, it makes sense. Like we all live in like different regions and stuff, so it's just like whatever is accessible.
Would you? Let me ask you, like, would you like? How do you feel about the concept of like eating like other animals? Is it just because you live here, or do you feel like?
I feel like it's because I live here. I feel like if I lived in another country, I would pay it no mind.
Is it like a moral thing for you? That's why I always get hung up on like why people don't want to eat another animal.
No, it's not. It's not a moral thing for me.
What is it?
I some things just don't sound good.
Okay, but why?
I don't know. Maybe because I don't know. I'm open to trying other foods.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just wondering like
or other
thought.
I just around the hesitancy, huh?
Yeah.
I think because it's just out of the norm for us. Okay. Like just because our culture isn't that culture.
Well, even then, I'm just like, it's not even just our culture. Like in the same country, we don't eat the same food. You go a couple countries down, couple states down, they be eating rattlesnake and frog legs, and we be like, some people be like this. Ooh.
That's true.
So that's why I'm like, what is it? Is it just?
But I would eat a rattlesnake and sauce.
I want to try rattlesnake so bad.
Yeah.
Rattlesnake like it might be good.
I think I would try almost anything. I just don't tell me what it looked like before it was dead.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's what I trip out too, because like
some things just look gross.
well, some people look at me crazy because I'm like I would eat. Like I saw a video there in Africa, and they was making zebra burgers,
Okay.
and the zebra burger looked good,
Yeah.
and people like, oh, that's crazy. I would eat zebra burgers, but they would eat the pig when they like cook the whole pig. That's good. I'm like, to me, I wouldn't eat the pig. Like me, I'm like especially I keep asking them like, how do you like y'all just cut into it? It's like, yeah, the skin get out. I'm like, oh no, I don't know about that. I don't know about. I can only eat bacon and chitlins from pigs, which sound crazy, and pork chops, but actually pork steaks and chitlins. Let's take a step back. I only eat chitlins when somebody else making them. I ain't making no chitlins.
I never had chitterlings before. Really?
Some vinegar.
Really?
Something different about.
I've had pig feet though.
I don't like pig feet.
I don't think I would eat it now, but I had it when I was a kid.
I don't like pig feet. And I don't like chicharrones.
I want to try chicharrones. What it tastes like. I imagine does it say same thing like pork belly?
No, because if I remember, chicharron got the skin attached to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think this is an interesting conversation, like about. Excuse me. It's like an interesting conversation about like I don't know. This is like culture is so interesting to me. Like how we can go like. Cause I'm watching a video in Africa and it was talking about like what they normally eat. Like if they go to the store and get something, and it was like the little like it's not an antelope, but it looked like an antelope.
Okay.
And they're like, yeah, we go to the store and that's what we eat most of the time. And one dude's like, that's all I eat. I don't eat nothing else. Like if they bring something else, I don't eat it. And I'm just like,
what it tastes like.
What? Like that's so crazy. Like it's like to us it's like because I was thinking about like I guess it makes sense because our animals is like the cow. Mm-hmm. Like we eat. Most people eat the cow and the chicken.
Some people don't eat the cow because they like worship the cow.
Yeah, in different countries. I'm talking about here. Mm-hmm. Like our animals is like the cow and the chicken. Like that's what we eat. We just
turkey
eat up on. But then like you go to somewhere like Mexico, they be eating like goat and different animals. They still got cows stuff like that, but they got a little bit different. And then you go like the next country over and it's like, well, we don't eat cow. We eat like it's just so interesting like that their normal meat.
Yeah.
To somebody else be like
extreme.
This is crazy.
Exotic.
I remember I was at dinner and we had a conversation about the craziest thing that we ate, and somebody said they ate guinea pig.
Yeah.
But they were in I can't remember the Arabic country, but they're in an Arabic country, and something I learned a long time ago is that guinea pig is not we think of it as a pet here. That's actually an exotic animal from like somewhere in I can't remember the exact place, but somewhere in the Middle East, they're like they're just natural animals that people will hunt and eat. And I'm like, guinea pig skewers.
Yeah, I seen that on all those survival shows I watch, and that throws me off.
What if it was down to like the wire? Like you eat frozen food, you're already halfway there. You're already halfway there eating.
Am I really
eating something crazy? So it's like,
am I really halfway there? Because it's frozen.
The frozen food is something crazy. I don't know. Like I think
isn't that crazy?
I think I'd rather eat a guinea pig taco before I eat some frozen something else.
I watch all these Alaskan shows and they be like tearing that squirrel up.
Squirrel?
Yeah.
Want to be in squirrel?
Yeah, they're in survival, so they eat
the squirrel.
They eat squirrel and
they eat rabbit.
I don't know. They be in Alaska, so I don't know if they be coming across rabbit like that.
They got hares out there.
I don't know.
Is that a different snowy place?
Maybe a different place. I know they come across a lot of squirrels, and they get the mussels and stuff out of the water.
Do they eat fish?
Yeah. So sometimes they have challenges where they go fish for snow crab. Is that the name of it? The big crab?
Alaskan snow crab.
Yeah. They have challenges. King crab. They have challenges where they go catch those, or they have challenges where they go catch the fish. But everyday living outside those challenges, where they have like the option to go fish, they dig in the dirt and get whatever they get out of the little sand on the beach, and they eat squirrel. That's what they survive on. And they be having this little bitty squirrel, and it be like 5 of them on the team got to share this little squirrel, and they be so excited and just be tearing it up.
It tastes like.
I know, it's so interesting.
They just be eating it like.
Yeah, they skin it and then they grill it on a squirrel, just like the.
See, that's my thing. I mean, I get it, maybe because they don't got all this stuff, but like, y'all can't get in your bag at least with it. Like, if you gonna cook, at least get in your bag.
What do you think they gonna do with it?
I mean, I watch these. So it's a couple of not podcasts. What I was about to say,
YouTube.
A couple of YouTube videos I watch where this guy, girl, multiple creators will go to these different islands and they will only eat what they can catch. And I always appreciate those because they don't just boil it or cook it. They'll actually make like something out of it. Like, so I remember one time this person caught something and he ended up getting some coconuts and made a coconut curry with it. And I said, okay, I like it. So it's like, I like stuff like that. Like, we gonna do it.
Well, I don't know.
Do it up.
Maybe in Alaska in the cold, like
they got something though.
I don't know. I think I might have. I think
got salt.
I think on one of the shows, no, they don't have nothing. It's just the only thing they're sent out there with is a tarp to like make shelter.
Wait, so let me are these regular people?
These regular people from America.
See, they learn how to forage.
They forage like berries sometimes, depending on like what part of the island they're on. That's another thing. When you choose your camp, you got to be careful because sometimes they pick this one camp picked the ground that was wet and slumping because from the rain, and they were laying down and freezing the whole night. They were like, "Oh my God, we chose the wrong part of the island." So it's just stuff like that. You have to like pick a part where it's like, what else can we like get from here? Like, are berries nearby or this nearby? I love those shows, but they be really working with like nothing.
Yeah. See, I wish I could be one of those shows, but I don't want y'all to really leave me out there. You know, I know be the team out there just in case something happen, but like,
yeah, they have medics.
I would for sure be the person where it's like, he didn't toe himself up. Now you gotta take him back. He can't even be on the show because he didn't.
I know that'd be the saddest part when people get sick or injured and they be like, I can't compete for the $1 million no more. I'm like, damn. More for me.
Yeah, for real. And I watch this. I don't know. I just think it's so interesting. Again, I'm glad. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I live here because I don't gotta really get down and dirty. But I am very interested in traveling and eating some of the different foods that aren't like rodents.
Normal to us.
Yeah, if it's not a rodent or if it's not what I would consider domesticated, like a cat or something or a dog, I'm willing to eat it.
Did you see that those protesters who set up the dog? It was like kind of like a farmer's market, and they set up a stand for dog, like they come eat dog, and they're protesting in a sense of like of PETA type of vibe, and they were just saying, yeah, this was just an awareness thing to show you guys like why are you protecting dogs but not other animals? Like, why are you guys so mad if someone's eating a dog? You guys eat pigs and cows and chickens and da-da-da. I was just like, okay, I get it, but yeah, but people were outraged, like,
about it.
Yeah, because they thought they were actually like selling cooked dog.
Unclean. I remember a long time ago I was watching a video, and we'll get off after this, but it was a long time I watched this video of this guy. He went to China. I want to say it was China or some like Asian province that was like close to China, and they had like a festival for the dog, like cooking and eating dog, and they were like, so he went and they cooked the dog, and he went in. I guess he went in with the concept that he wouldn't have to try it, but the family that cooked it felt disrespected
if he didn't try it.
Yes, so he had to try it. And I remember I remember seeing him try it. I was like, poor baby. Because in my head I said, that's one of the few that I wouldn't go for. That's one of the few. Especially because it's like wild dog. And it's like, he ate it and he was eating it. He was just like, they're looking at him like looking for his answer. He was like, it tastes like I can't remember I think he says something like a dirty version of like a steak taco or something like that. Like the taste tasted like funky. I remember thinking to myself, I said, that's crazy. He ate that, and then he ate, they cooked bugs. I think they had like, it's like a Chinese medicinal, they have some medicinal values or something, like cook a certain type of bugs, and one of them is like roaches. Yeah. And I remember I was like, that's what's up. He's better than me, but that's why I wouldn't go everywhere playing around trying to get it. I don't need a story on that. I don't need the story on that. But they were also like breaking some of the stigmas because some people are like making a joke like, oh, people with dogs will get stolen. And while that is the case, they're like, they actually have like farms
of dogs.
And I'm like, that's a nuts concept. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That was a good video.
All those like what's it called? Those extreme shows where they make them eat like the crazy bugs and
Fear Factor.
Yeah.
I could do Fear.
Whenever I watch a challenge and they be like, and then they be throwing up, so I'm like,
see, I could have. I think a lot of stuff I saw on Fear Factor, I'm like, I could do that. I could do that. I think the only one threw me off when I found out what balut was.
Balut, is that boo boo?
Balut. It's like an egg with the bird still in it, and they got to eat
I've
it.
Seen that.
And I remember I watched this Mexican guy. I can't remember what episode it was, but I remember this Mexican guy eat it. They said if he threw up, he failed, so he had to eat it. And he was over there, like making a noise, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he's a G." Because me, now I'm like, we ain't even gonna play like that. So let's go ahead and just keep it going. But that's enough about crazy food. That's enough about crazy food. We can talk about something else.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Wuzi. If you're enjoying this video so far, please do me a favor and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us out so much and lets us know what videos you like so we can create more content like it. So if you can go down below, like the video, hit that red subscribe button, I'll really appreciate it. Now let's get back to the video.
I did want to say, like, we it seems like we both on the timeline saw a lot of stuff that kind of circled around like legacy. Mm-hmm. It felt like, to me at least what you shared and what I saw.
Yeah, it
seemed like legacy is like this subconscious theme that I saw between the topics that we shared. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wanted to talk about it because I think there's two. Obviously, they don't connect, but it's like two very good points about legacy that are pretty interesting.
Okay.
So I want you to like, can you bring up the first one about the last name that you saw?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So there's this show on BT. I think it's on BT Plus, and I watch it, periodically. It's a men's podcast, and they had Da Vinci on there. That man. And they had the winner of Love Island. I forgot his name, but the latest American Love Island. And then they had Jacquees, the singer, the R&B king. And they were talking about basically like, do they have children? Do they want children? Of course, Jacquees just had his first child with Mrs. Sanders. And there was brought up the conversation around last names because the host, I'm not familiar with him, but he's the host of the podcast. He was saying that it really was a conversation. It wasn't just like a absolute thing for his child to have his last name because he's not married to his child's mother. And so when it came down to like the birth certificate and like naming the baby and stuff, it was just like he had to kind of like stand on his and tell her like, I really want my child to have my last name. And she was like, I'll think about it. And so he was asking Jacquees, like, how was that for you? Because y'all not married either. And this is your first child. Like, are you tied into having your name, be on the birth certificate and all the things? And so Jacquees kind of walked them through, what that conversation was for the two of them. And his child has a long name. So he has both their last names. He has Sander Brockus. Is that Jacquees' last name? So he has both their names. So I was only brought that up to to Wuzi because he was talking about like, we were always kind of arguing that conversation. I was like, what do you think about this? And so that's how we got to this conversation, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Well,
especially as a man.
Yeah. I guess the thing for me is so interesting because I'm a product of that. Like my last name is hyphenated. Mm-hmm. So I have both my mom's last name and my dad's last name. But I never ever like sat like I mean when you're young you just think about it and it's like it's just my last name. I didn't get it. I didn't give it to me. I just accepted it.
Yeah.
But I never thought about like obviously as I'm in my 20s, inching towards 30, is like when I get towards the point where it's like having kids, it's like, are we just gonna be that person where we add another hyphen to it? Mm-hmm. Do I remove a hyphen? Like what does that look like? Because I like the point that Jacquees made that he wasn't going to name his kid one and one of the kids another last name because he didn't want there to be no confusion. He wanted them to be a clan.
Yeah.
Which I get it. But it was just an interesting conversation around legacy because I understand the point of like, we not married, so why do you feel entitled to his last name? It's just very interesting to me. Like, I feel like in that situation, if you're not married, I can understand the hyphen.
Mm-hmm.
Because none of them were married, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So like, without the marriage, I guess I understand the hyphen. It's just hard for me because I always imagine myself getting married before I have kids.
Right.
So like, for me, when I have kids, like, it's whatever name we agreed on at that point, right? I just don't know what would happen if I had like somebody was like, no, we just giving them the completely different name. I'd be like,
yeah.
I think I'd be so hurt.
I have a friend, you know her. When she first started having kids, she wanted her and her husband, to create a whole new last name. Like they wanted to find a name that represented like a specific meaning behind it, but her husband wasn't going for it. But the weird thing about that situation was her kids don't have her husband's last name either. They have her husband's stepfather's name or biological father's names or something like that. Something weird. So it's just like he had this last name, she had this last name. The kids have different last names. So she was just like, this don't make no sense. So now her and the kids got the same last name, but he's still not like, he wanted his, I think, stepfather's legacy to live on or something like that.
Got it.
And so she was just like, I just wish we would have like just chose a name for us as a unit to go by, whether it didn't have to come from like our families at all. So I thought that was an interesting concept too. It's just like, let's just make up a name for us to like.
I just feel like, I mean, I think I like that concept of like making a name.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like people who like move away and just like completely change their legacy by changing their name. Because again, at the end of the day, we really think about last name. Like, I mean, it's cool to keep the same last name and have that lineage. But at the same time, it's like there is something empowering to like kind of like, I guess, I had a conversation before here about breaking generational curses. And that seems like it could possibly be a way. Like if your family is like the negativity of your life, I could see something like that happening. And some people see it both ways. Some people see it as like Jacquees talked about in that clip. He sees himself as changing, like being the change for his last name and passing that down, which is really cool. I think I align more with that mentality, even though I don't have like negative affiliations with my last name, but granted, with that I'm biased, right? But I feel like if I went through something that was like my dad wasn't the best or something like that, I think I would still keep the last name because it's me at the end of the day, unless you just really feel like I gotta get away from this.
Yeah.
That is very interesting that they get. I understand the concept of like taking the stepfather's name. I don't think that's too crazy to me. If you felt like, because some people feel like that's like my real dad. Like my father is the person who birthed me, but my dad is like this person.
Yeah.
And this is who people know as my dad, stuff like that. The thing is, me is like, why don't you get your name changed too? So it makes more sense.
Yes.
Or maybe he missed a period where he got adopted or something like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing too. She didn't understand that part. She was just like, but we all have the same name now. Like, like it was strange.
So let me ask you this on the other side. I saw a clip a long time ago of a guy basically got with this kid's mom when he was younger. Grew up with the kid, basically was like the kid's father.
Yeah.
Don't got the context of the kid's dad was in his life, but from what the video gave, it didn't seem like if he was, it didn't seem like he was very active.
Yeah.
When the kid got around high school age, he ended up changing his last name to his stepdad's last name.
Yeah.
And then, stepdad got all emotional and stuff like that. It became a thing. Like, how do you feel about like stuff like that?
I've seen that happen a lot, actually, and I've seen it in a weird way too. Like there was this similar situation, but the dad was around, not extremely active, but he was around enough for like the child to have a relationship with him. And then the stepdad was like, well, I'm adopting him and he's gonna have my last name, and it was this big old thing. But if I was in the situation myself and the father wasn't around, I would want my child to have the name of the father that he identifies most with.
When you say want, what do you mean?
Because if he's
like you will push it, or you will be okay with it?
I would be okay with it. Like if he's high school age, he has understanding of, oh, if I change my name, this is what this means. So if that's something he desired or she desired, I wouldn't go against that. Like, I married this man and I trust him with my children. He raised my children. Like, this is their father at this point. Like, the few that I've seen, because I've seen one where like the boy wrote a letter to his stepdad. It was like Father's Day or something like that, and it was like, can you make me yours type of thing. And I thought that was sweet. I think it's just very honorable, and it kind of solidifies like that unit. But you also have to honor the father, if the biological father, if he's still around too. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, because like I feel like even though I don't truly, no, I'll say it like this. I feel like by doing that, if your dad is still around, it's like you almost cutting your dad off at that point.
Yeah.
Because like I couldn't imagine. It's like me changing my last name and then go around my dad like, "What's up?" Like
I
nothing
don't
happens.
know.
It's like what? It's like what do you expect your relationship with your dad to go from there?
Like, I understand that name does kind of in our culture classify like identity and legacy, but I don't think, because women change their last name all the time because of marriage mostly. So it's just like, that's still my dad. Or is that different sisters marriage and not like?
Well, it's just, the marriage is obviously different. I think it's also a cultural difference.
Like if I would have changed my name to my mom's last name.
You don't think your dad would have felt some type of way?
I think my dad would have felt some type of way.
But if you got married, it's different.
But me personally, like I wouldn't feel no disconnection from that side of my family or from my dad. Like I feel like just me existing is part of his legacy.
Well, that's how you feel. I'm talking about how he feel.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying like, I don't know how, I'm trying to think. I don't have a good illustration for it. But I don't know. I'm just thinking of like, again, especially because if you did it, you feel like you basically choosing up, which is okay.
I have a cousin who did that. She was adopted into our family and she changed her last name to her biological parents' last name when she became like 21. And
like went back?
Mm-hmm. And my family, the elders in my family, were upset about it. And I was just like, I didn't feel any way because I don't know what it feels like to be adopted.
So see, I can get that.
So I'm just like, why y'all mad? Like, you don't know her experience, you know? It's not like she disowned us. Like, she's still part of our family. She still owns us as like aunties, cousin, siblings and stuff. It's not like she just like cut us off and like changed her name. She just, I guess, felt a need to change her name to feel closer to her biological side.
Was she starting to get back close with them or something? Or?
She met a few of her cousins around that time and learned more about her mom and, you know, her parents and stuff. Because both her parents are passed. So it's like, I don't know. I didn't take offense, but some people in my family took offense to that.
I mean, I could see the offense if they feel like, we gave you a better opportunity. But at the same time, it's like, it don't sound like she had her permission to change her name in the first place. So like, why not change it back? You know? I guess that's just a little. I guess that's the little. I understand that one. I can understand that one. Like that one don't feel like it's hard to grasp the concept.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about, as someone who has their dad in their life, and maybe he may not have been the most active, but he was involved nonetheless. For me to take on the name of somebody else who was more active, my thought is like, again, where do I expect my relationship with my dad to go from there? Because like at whether he's right or not for feeling this way, he's gonna feel like, oh, you don't F with me.
Yeah.
You know, especially to the point where you don't feel like to carry on my legacy. If you're still dealing with him, right? Like if you completely cut him off, it's a whole different thing. Like I don't mean my dad don't talk. We always beefing. We got completely different philosophies. Okay, I get it. But if I'm like, at least where I'm at in life is like I'm trying to build a better relationship with my dad. To do that is like, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, where do you expect to go from there? So the conversation with Jacquees and them is like really, really, really interesting because it does. You are setting a standard at that point when you name that kid. Like whatever we name that kid is the standard we set. So like, my dad don't have my grandpa's last name. I believe he has my grandma's last name. Don't quote me on that, but I believe so. And my mom is even a crazier story. Is like my mom don't have her biological dad last name. She has my grandpa's, my grandma's husband's last name.
Oh, okay.
Like when when she was born, she was given that name. Yeah. Well, not her stepdad, my grandma.
Husband.
Yeah. She was a product of an affair. Okay. So she named her, but the kid was still named Norris.
I get that with your grandma. That's some stuff right there.
Yeah. Okay. It was very interesting learning about that.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying by setting a standard.
Yeah, because like again, my mom's biological dad. Not that he was never heavily involved, from what I understood. She knew him. He had other kids, blah blah blah, but never heavily involved. My grandpa Henry was the one who was there. So like when she think of her dad, that's who she think of. She don't think of, even though she knows about him, she don't think about him as dad. And she can obviously, it's easier for her to resonate with that because her last name is his last name. Yeah. So that's why I said like my family is like very weird when it comes to last names, and I understand like the legacy conversation is very interesting to me.
It is
because like I've heavily thought about dropping the hyphen on my name, and not like legally changing my last name, but like when I name my kids, dropping the last name.
But you don't know which one.
I don't know which one. I don't know if I'm gonna keep the Norris Thornton because I think it is kind of cool. I like the way it sounds. Yeah, but I still
think you should name somebody Norris.
Name somebody. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Like, am I gonna follow my dad's route where I can name one kid Norris and the other ones, Thornton? Or I've seen families do that, and I get it. Because I do want to honor my grandpa, but like I said before, like my family got a lot of Norrises. I think we'd be all right. Yeah, yeah. When I found out my grandma had 100+ grandkids, I think we'd be all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have a lot of real perspective on it because I'm not a male, and I feel like that's a larger concept within like a male culture of passing down like your father's legacy, because it's not expected for us to.
Well, as
far as like last name goes.
Well, even from your perspective, like, but you already said that
I'm gonna drop my name.
You're gonna drop your name, even though like your dad don't got no boys, right? So it's like there's that aspect of it too, like, especially when you think of like, I don't know why I'm referencing Hamilton, but like Hamilton and the Schuyler sisters was kind of like talking about like I have to find a good suitor to pass on my father's name, even if it isn't his name literally. Their kids is going, their kids, he gonna become like an honorary Schuyler and then pass the name down. But I don't know if we keep records like that no more. You get me? Yeah. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's a very interesting, nuanced conversation.
It is. Because it's like I understand names matter because names have meaning, and names really do. I believe names really do speak a certain life into children. That's why I'd be like, please think about the names you name your child. So I get why we hold such a like hefty weight on names, but at the same time, it's just like, do we have to subscribe to that? Like our legacy can be so much more than just a name, Yeah.
Well, I mean, remember, I think were we talking about they don't have that Bible anymore because people have that family Bible that has all the people who were born in their name and stuff like that. You know, stuff like that. Just, I mean, we got 23andMe and stuff like that, but it's like, I don't know. I think we don't have the same reverence for legacy.
Yeah.
Anymore, at least in my family. Like, I don't know. You know, I found out a long time ago my grandma Native American, but because she a Christian, she like denounced her Native American side, which is crazy to me because my great great grandpa was one. So it's like, you know, it would be interesting to know. Like, it's not like he lived his life like, you know, like a full Native American, but he did believe in like not using pharmaceuticals and using like, you know, more natural remedies. And the funny part now is she do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's in you, but so interesting. Very interesting topic. But I just think like, I don't know. I just wish we did a better job of that. I mean, again, my mom's trying to do 23andMe and stuff like that, and it'd be kind of dope to learn it. But I want the stories.
I think the stories mean a lot more than just looking at a list of names. I was watching TikTok a few weeks ago, and this lady, a black woman, she was explaining how those who came here through slavery, black people who came here through slavery, how hard it is to like really trace our stuff all the way back, because not only is like, where do we start? Is like she said her and her siblings, I think, are on their like 50th year of tracing back their lineage. And she said they hit so many barriers because, one, you have to pay to get those records. And it's like, not everybody have access to pay for things like that. And then she hit a brick wall because at some point we weren't people, we were property. And so she had to go to a whole nother like department of things to go through property. So she had to look through property files to find her people, and then trace it back through slave owners, and through like she broke it down because she said it's been taken, like, I think she said 5 years to go through this process. So when you think of things like that too, just like some of us, our last names are from our slave owners. So just like, what I know we can always own or like adapt, revamp our names, but at the same time it's like, well, what if I just want to make up a new last name, you know? Like,
I think I remember it was a guy, it was talking about like a lot of immigrants who would come to America would just drop their last name, or come up with a completely new one.
So,
you know, because I definitely think it's bigger than last name, which is why I said it's just more about the stories and keeping that, because you know, like, I mean, I hope I'm able to share the stories that I've had from my grandpa when I get to the point where I have kids, and then they can take from that. So, you know, that's the way I see it. Is like, it's really just the last name is like the easier, like, surface level. The legacy goes way further than that, because like you said, there's some women who don't keep their last name, but they still are attached to that lineage. Like, okay, that's blah 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 daughter. She kin to blah blah blah, and then I'd be like, oh, I didn't even know that. You know. Like,
I think last name, like you said, is surface level, but I think it's a easy way to be like, oh, y'all all
connected.
Like this, y'all, you know, it's less complicated, I guess.
For real. I mean, but on the other conversation of legacy that we were talking about was, while like last name can like, you know, bring like a positive light on legacy. Recently, an interview came out with Kurt Angle, and he was talking about sometimes the negative parts of legacy. Because if y'all don't know, Kurt Angle, man, hope y'all know that Kurt Angle was one of the best WWE wrestlers of our time. You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest. You know, the ankle lock was used many times in our household, and it was a great move. But on top, like, he did an interview, and in the interview he talks about he had real issues with perks. At one point in his time, he was using them because he broke his neck twice. I don't know if everybody know that, but he broke his neck twice, and because of that, obviously he was going through a lot of immense pain. So he had to rely heavily on painkillers to get through that pain, especially at the time that he was wrestling. And he said he admitted to it that not only did they make him feel better, they also made him feel good, which is the problem. And he said that he never took him while he was wrestling. He only took him before in the morning and after he would wrestle. He never was high while he was wrestling. But the time that, when the WWE was cracking down on drug abuse, that was the time that he was heavily on it. And some people refer to that time as perk angle. So in the interview, he was talking about it like, how do you feel about, asked him how he felt about the term. And he said, at first he was just speaking to it like, I understand why people say that, because it's like they're seeing it as a positive thing, like recognize the best time of my lives, some of the best fights I've had, everything. So they're like kind of like using it as a term of endearment. But then later on he asked like, well, like, but how do you actually feel about it? Like he said, no, it hurts my feelings. Like I actually don't like it. Like he understands where it's coming from. So he doesn't feel, he kind of like suppresses that, but he said it reminds him of a dark time. So like while we might be using it as like a reference to like look how great time was at that time, it reminds him only of the dark parts of it, which I was telling Ariel that it's like an interesting conversation around like, I guess you say perception of legacy.
Yeah.
Like what we might think of as the greatest time, someone might see as like, these was the hardest times.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just kind of want to like pick your brain on that. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, can you relate to that? Like, what's your thoughts around that?
Because he mentioned why it was dark times for him.
Yeah.
He mentioned he had the two neck injuries. He was suppressing a lot of pain with the drugs. He was going through a divorce. So it was a lot going on for him during that time. And he was saying not only does that term hurts his feelings because he feels like people weren't being empathetic or compassionate or understanding, what he was going through to have to take the drugs in the first place, but also it just overshadows things and it turns into kind of like a stigma for his legacy. So as far as that, like, I don't think I can directly relate or like resonate with that, but I feel like there has been moments in my life where I'm just like, not my proudest moments, when I made like poor decisions or I was just being reckless or something, and they're like, you remember when you was, and I'm like, I was depressed, I was lashing out because I was jaded or anything, right? Like they don't know that I was being that kind of person because I was internally hurting or like trying to suppress some things, but to them I was a good time, so they call him back to the good old times. I'm like, that was the good old times for me. I was the furthest away from God at that time, and I was like in my head, like, so I can relate in that sense of like, I remember Ariel, she used to be this and this and this. I'm like, is that really the legacy they see of me? I'm like, I don't want that to be my legacy. So I can relate in that like level of a sense, but not as like,
I mean, obviously not the intensity, but I'm talking about the concept. Like,
yeah.
Because I never thought about that until he explained it the way he did. Like, I never thought about, like how I might perceive my childhood as like very, very good. But my mom being a single mother might perceive my childhood as very, very hard times.
Right.
Like, because like I remember we've had conversations of like my grandma speaking about her past and she refused to speak on it. Just like flat out refuses. And my mom never understood, and I also kind of didn't understand. But when my grandma shared some of the stories and you see the look in her face when she's sharing those stories, like you can tell she's reliving them, you start to understand like, oh, well, I'm looking for it because, I think it's cool that my grandma survived that circumstances, and to know the truth of what's going on for her, it's like, I don't want to have to go back there because it's different. It's the way I lived it was different than you can ever understand.
Yeah.
So like when he said that was the first thing that came to my mind, because I'm like, wow, how many like, because I could relate to that on like a friend level, right? Like there's, like you said, there's certain friends, like, not that you can't be friends with them, but certain friends that it's hard to be friends with again because they only know you as
Right.
what you were in that friendship.
Turn up Tony.
You know what I'm saying? Like for real, like we only hung out in the like context of like getting messed up at the club.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see me, you reminisce on that moment. That's what you know me as. But for me, it's like, man, me getting turned up in the club. I was, like you said, I was going through a whole lot. So it's very like, I don't know. It's just, I just want to bring awareness to it because it's like, so on both sides, to just be careful, right? Like we might be doing something that's like in like, you know, trying to be endearing, but it's like some other people might really just be like that's not a time that I want to recognize ever.
Ever.
And that's why I asked like if you can relate to it, because like, and granted, the way that I see my life, I just accept it all.
Yeah.
I loved it all.
I don't know.
When I didn't love it in the moment.
I don't know if I loved it all, but I do stand on it now. Like I used to be a person who would be afraid when stuff came out, that I'd be like used to try to keep in the dark or like whatever. And I'm just like, and like I did it. I don't do it no more. Or like I did it. I learned from it. I grew from it. That helped shape me into the person I am now. So like, why am I going to just like pretend like that didn't happen, or like I was never in that position or whatever. So now it's just like more of an acceptance thing. Like that's also part of my story, and that's okay because look where I am now, you know? Yeah. But I don't think a lot of people have gotten to that yet. And so it's still a lot of like guilt and shame that they carry with their legacy, however you want to define legacy. But I think it takes a lot of, like you said, acceptance of that part of that we didn't really like. I'm glad you were able to love it, and you said you didn't love it at the time, but you love it now. How did you say it?
Yeah, I didn't love it at the time. You know, when you're going through it, it's like, you know, obviously, you know, if you're going through hardship, it's not like, you know, no one's happy to go through hardship at the time. But like, again, when I think about the way that I believe is that if I didn't go through certain things, I wouldn't be who I am. Right. So because of that, I got to love it. Okay. Because I can't imagine my life a different way. And what's the point of imagining a different way? It wasn't.
Yeah, like this is it.
You know what I mean? And through that, you know, there were some positive things that came from it, you know, like growing up, and granted, we were never poor, but growing up challenging circumstances, obviously in the moment where it's like, this is ghetto. Yeah. But at the same time, I love it because it's the only reason why I appreciate some stuff that people don't appreciate. Right. You know, like while it's challenging to like grow up with grandparents and like watching them get old, I understand, you know, why like sometimes I not like feel like I wish I didn't have my grandparents, but like, dang, I hate that I have to go through this. I realized that I reflect back that some people have never even met their grandparents ever in life and never will. Right. Like that's like, to me, like, okay, like while it's challenging to go through this, like see your grandpa pass away and then see your grandma get old and stuff, I love that this is my circumstances because I'm given something that I appreciate that some people can never really appreciate, anything like that. Even like you said, another level of legacy. Like I can actually understand their thoughts and how they even got to California, which helped me. Maybe not in the sense of like I'm gonna live for them, but more like, dang, like this is like why I'm here. Right. Not just like because mama worked hecka hard, but like also like my grandma and grandpa left their lives and went across the country. That's pretty crazy. But even like some of the stuff, like, yeah, I've never been an alcoholic or anything like that. But like when I wasn't living my life in a way that I would see, I still don't see it as a negative because, I mean, let's keep it a buck. I was enjoying myself at the time, even if I was struggling internally. I was enjoying myself. I'm not gonna act like, yeah, I was going through so much pain. And some people are, but like at that time, in my mind, I was living it up. I was having a great time. So I'm not going, you know, like I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't have those moments. Again, I don't glorify those moments, but I do love that I went through those experiences because now it just informs everything that I do now. Right. And while some people don't understand, it's like, yo, I haven't been through what I've been through. So, period.
Been there, done that.
What I say? How y'all do it? Clock it. That's funny. But yeah, I just really appreciated like the concept of legacy. Those two topics really I don't know. I thought they were just very interesting ones to talk about because stuff that we don't really think about, especially as 20-some years old. Like we ain't thinking about, what that look like. I'm not thinking about. I don't got no kids, so I definitely ain't thinking about no legacy.
Yeah, there was a sermon years ago. I used to go to a different church, and the bishop had talked about legacy in a sense of like legacy and what's the term when you pass out money? What's it called? Inheritance. And he was speaking about how like we're always so caught up in like legacy being like popularity and like famous, and then inheritance being around money. And so he took it from a different perspective of like legacy is more than just like how many people know your name or how many people know that you invented this thing or whatever the case, or like blaze this thing. And then he talked about the inheritance, like, yes, we should prioritize money because, the system and the culture we live in, like we need money. So yes, look out for your generations around inheritance and money wise, but like what are they inheriting? Like biblically, what are they inheriting spiritually, mentally, emotionally? Like how are they learning how to regulate their emotions? Like what are some standards and things you're instilling into them that they can pass down as healthy and safe and positive? So I think for me, when I think about like legacy and inheritance, I don't think of it from that angle too much. I always think of like, well, what is my character like? Like what is my children, my grandchildren, my peers now, what are they going to remember me as far as like my character, and like what do people learn from me? I'm big on like teaching people stuff. And so I'm just like, what are people going to take from me when they have a conversation with me, or like if they come sit in my Bible study or whatever the case. So I think I lean more towards that part of like legacy and like inheritance of like things that are not so tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think legacy, or I would say legacy, I always seem legacy is intangible. It's like, because like when you think about, like I said, the name of a person, the name don't carry the weight of like, how much money they had, carry the weight of the person that the people knew them as.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Like what pops up in their mind when they hear your voice, or name.
Yeah, which like I think about like the presidency, like old presidency, like Theodore Roosevelt name meant a lot because he was like a very truthful man, different things. And then when FDR had the same last name, it's like, whoa, like okay, like you start to attribute all the things that you think of the other Roosevelts to the same thing. So it's like, wow, like that. So like when I think of legacy, I always think about like that aspect of it, like, man, you don't understand, like like my grandpa and stuff like that. Like you don't understand what your grandpa done for me, blah, blah, stuff like that. And or like your dad, he's always been a good dude. He always been, your mom always is that. So it's like that legacy too is like, oh, that's who you've seen it before. I'm pretty sure you've seen it before. It's like, that's who your mama is. Yeah. And somebody has a story to share. Like that's to me is when I think of legacy is like, what is it when somebody say you related to me and it's like, I remember my sister, I feel bad, poor baby. When she went to school, she went to the same school I went to. Yeah. The same middle school I went to, and they found out that she was my sister. They was like, yeah. Like you said, because I was an academic head. Like even though I didn't apply myself in school, I knew all the answers. So it was like, your brother is who? Okay. Yeah. And I was like, poor baby.
There is that happened to me too, because all my siblings are older than me, so we all went to the same high school, but at different times. So it was certain teachers. They were like, "Yeah, let them know you are a little sis." Da, 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 da. But then there were certain teachers like, "Do not let them know you're related to me. Do not because they gonna just fail you automatically. They don't care if you do the work."
Not fail you automatically.
Yeah, so I get that too. Like, yeah, just knowing the name and being able to make the connections and like,
yeah. And that's what I think about legacy. Like,
yeah.
In the context of like what you're talking about, like as far as like, it's always intangible. It's just like the experience, like what experience did you leave behind?
Yeah. The essence of the person.
Yeah.
I know we've been on this for a minute, but y'all, I binge watched this show last night called Safe. It's an older, well, it's not that old. It came out in 2018, but it reminded me of legacy too, because the wife had passed away from cancer. but it was spoiler.
Oh, wait, don't spoil it.
Okay, I won't spoil it then, because it was like twofold legacy. But anyways, she ran a community center and she looked out for a lot of the youth in the neighborhood. And her husband was a surgeon, so he wasn't really like around a lot. Like he was always like on call at work, and so it was almost as if like the wife and the kids had like a whole separate life that he didn't know about. So when she passed and like some other stuff started coming up, he started realizing like my wife did a lot in the community. Like they had like it's called shrine. What's it called when they put like shrine. They had a shrine up in her community center in her old office, and he went in there and he was like shook because he was like, she has pictures of all these people. I never met these people before. I don't know where these vents are from. There was like cards and letters and like gifts just written out from all these people he see as strangers, but obviously they felt like they were extremely close to his wife. He found out his daughters had been visiting that and like sitting there and then reading people's letters about their mom to feel closer to their mom and stuff. And it was just like, that was her legacy, that she made such impact in that community where like all ages of people were coming to honor her in that way. But he knew nothing about that part of her life. And so it was just like, yeah. So just like, I wonder what her legacy was to him. If that was her legacy to the community of like, she gave back, she looked out for the youth, you know, she supported all these different causes. Like, I was just like curious about like, what do you think she was like?
But that, I feel like I could relate to that.
Yeah.
And not from a spousal relationship. My family.
Yeah.
You know who you might be known as in your family.
Yeah, that's true.
If they really like see how people might see you, you be like, you do what? I ain't know you. I'm pretty sure parents have done that all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you did all that. I'm like,
yeah,
I live life. I've started a new life.
right.
Completely different.
I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because I was trying to pick up on that in the show, but I don't think I didn't grasp like what he
thought
of his wife, yeah, and like her actual legacy.
Might be something to watch. What's it called?
Safe. Yeah.
How long is it?
I think it's like 8 episodes, but it's
One season?
It's only one season.
That's easy.
It wraps.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, it wraps in one season.
That's easy peasy.
Yeah.
8 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. 8 hours. That's a whole shift. That's a whole shift. But on the last conversation about legacy,
okay,
tonight's conversations.
Yes. Yeah.
They recently have lost three major members. Kitty, Keita Rose, and Fontaine. Trip Fontaine. And, you know, with them gone, I have to be honest and know I came mostly for Fontaine. That was who was voice of reason I liked. I also liked Keita Rose's take, and there was a couple of clips I really liked Kitty's take. I don't know where the future of tonight's conversation is going without them three. You know, obviously Ace Metaphor is still there.
Right.
But obviously it's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not fully privy to, I don't think, has she shared why she finally left, or?
She has.
Oh, she has.
But I haven't kept up with it because it was just a lot, and it's happened so fast. It's happening as we speak. She created an entire series on her TikTok and on her YouTube of her step by step breaking down how she got involved with tonight's conversation to begin with, and she's gonna walk, I guess, us through the timeline of how they end up where she's at now.
Make that money, run it up. She's smart. See, I'm telling you, I mess with Keita Rose, man.
Yeah,
Keita Rose.
One thing she did mention though was how she's getting negative pushback because she's the only one speaking up, and she was talking about how taking on that burden of sharing your story and how that can reflect on the person sharing. Just because no one else is sharing doesn't mean that she's this bad person, you know.
We talked about it. We talked about that.
Yeah, we did. How do you feel about people sharing it?
I mean, or maybe if y'all don't know, Tonight's Conversation is a podcast that started to really blow up the last couple of years about relationships. And on there, they have a panel. Of different people. But some of the most notable names was, like we said, Trip Fontaine, Keita Rose, Kitty, and Ace Metaphor, is the one who started the whole platform. Mm-hmm. They now have an app. They got a lot. They do live shows, everything. Like, they've been involved and they've been active.
Right.
I feel like, I would say randomly, I saw that Kitty and Keita Rose were leaving the platform, which floored me. And then I think I found out a couple days later that Trip Fontaine was also leaving the platform, and I was just like, why?
Yeah.
Why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't pay for the app though. And I was this close to thinking about it. I'm like, I really enjoy their content, and I feel like they really all give really good takes. Some people feel like they give basic information and they form it well, but I feel like the thing that I liked about them that people don't recognize is that they did well with navigating the context of people's circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole thing. Like, is relationship advice pretty easy? Of course it's easy. Technically, just be faithful and be attentive. But it's like, obviously that breaks down as the different contexts happen, you know, how you got into the relationship, where you coming from, where they coming from. It's different. So I always appreciate them taking people's words and then like kind of like working off what their situation is and giving it to the masses who might not be in the same situation or something similar. So with that, we had a conversation about like how Keita said, is she wrong for wanting to tell people what happened? Mm-hmm. And my take was, I use the word obligation, which is the only word I know how to use because I don't know what any other word I would use. If y'all know a better word, let me know. But I feel like if something super negative happened, I feel like there feels like there's an obligation to share that story so that nobody else will succumb to the same treatment.
Right.
So to hear her saying like that, like she getting negative pushback for just sharing her story, it goes to what I said, like how you gonna knock her for telling something that she went through? Like what are we talking about? Mm-hmm. Because again, if she didn't, and we just saw all the cases that's been happening with R. Kelly, and then we had the one with now we got P. Diddy. Stuff was happening, people knew, and they didn't say nothing.
And now they mad because why didn't you say anything?
Yeah, now they getting mad at her for saying something. So it's like, we gotta pick one. You can't just pick and choose. Like, oh, I really love this platform right now, so you can't. Why you gonna say stuff? Why you be messy? Just go in silence. If something's bad happened, no, expose it. Mm-hmm. Period.
Yeah.
Eric don't agree with me though.
I didn't say I disagree. I understand and I resonate with that because personally, and also the work that I do, a lot of things could be prevented if people spoke out more. But we live in a society when people speak out, it doesn't always get received well. It's a lot of times not received well. And so there's hesitance in speaking out because of the backlash, because of the disbelief, because of the tarnish that goes on people's name, legacy of people's names. Because it's like, oh, that's the person that claimed that so-and-so, and it's just like all the things that come with that. So I see the benefit of sharing a story because, like you said, it can prevent other people from succumbing to those circumstances, those experiences. Maybe having an opportunity to go in with their own boundaries set and certain things in position to prevent them from experiencing that poor outcome. But also, it's just like, it's hard at times to speak out because of such a negative feedback people get. And it sometimes ruins people's lives depending on what the accusations are. And so it's just like a hard, like you would love for them to speak out and be that person to be like, I'm doing this because I don't want anyone else to experience this. And I feel like that's really brave to do. And it takes a lot of courage. But at the same time, it's just like, do you just protect yourself or do you leave yourself vulnerable out there to try to protect others?
So, but my thing is like, how would you be left vulnerable as far as like you'd be scared to get employed again in their sense, or is it like you don't get certain brand deals? Because I don't see that.
I think with her situation, it could be both. It could be losing a fan base, which is how she make her money, right? Off subscribers, likes, whatever. It could be since no one's backing her, they're like, well, she's the problem. It's kind of like when actors speak out of like how they were treated on set, and they're like, well, no one else had that experience, so it must be you. You know, no one else spoke up about it, so you're a difficult person to work with. You know, just the stigmas like that can cultivate, which can create barriers for the person that spoke out.
That's a tough one for me.
I think it's hard. I think
I say it's a tough one for me because I feel like I take the risk every time.
Yeah, but not everyone's set up like you, made up like you. You know,
I'm not even saying that. Like, not like saying like trying to make it about me, but it's more like if I think about what
the greater good.
Not even just the greater good, but like what, like I can't imagine. Like if I go to a work environment and the work environment is like super negative,
mm-hmm.
and they try to take advantage of me, and I caught them, and I didn't say nothing, and I just left the situation, and like you said, protected myself. I think I would feel some type of way if I hear later on that someone really did
mm-hmm.
get done dirty, you know. Because like you said, you're sending people, not you, but by proxy of you could be potentially letting people get taken advantage of, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, and I don't mean to use it this way and hope it don't come off the wrong way, but like when people like know who their abusers are and won't say it,
mm-hmm.
I understand a lot of people deal with trauma and they don't want to speak on it. It's just very interesting to me. It's like, why would you not help get that person recognized so that person, if they act again, they can be monitored,
mm-hmm.
or, and I'm not talking about like essay or anything like that. I'm talking about like, this is like, you know, it could be like the parents or something like that too. Like, just so that person can be dealt with properly, right?
Yeah.
Whether people avoid them, stuff like that. I remember it was a guy named TDP.
Okay.
He was like a content creator, and a big thing that happened was, you know, he got caught talking to someone underage.
Okay.
So someone came out and talked about it, and they did try to like jump the person, if I remember correctly. He got on there, you know, that she wanted it, just that, like that,
oh
like that kind of energy. She did that on purpose to try to like tarnish my legacy. You know, not like, I keep saying, I'm not gonna use legacy anymore. Like tarnish, like, you know, what I'm doing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So some other people actually went and did like, you know, they copied what's his name, To Catch a Predator.
Okay.
They copied that and call him again
mm-hmm.
and act. And after that, I mean, the internet kind of went crazy on it. They end up like, they basically make sure that he don't got a job, which, you know, is where I'm kind of like, you know, that's kind of, I mean, I get it. I'm not going to stand up for him because, you know, he did what he did, but I don't know about, you know, like calling every employer that he called and then like, you know, make sure he get fired and make him, you know, that's basically what's been happening to him.
Mm.
And, you know, he in a bad situation, but at the same time, he did wrong. So I can't be mad at how people react to it.
I think that kind of goes into like, because we were having a conversation around like informed consent.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, is that taking informed consent too much, calling the employer and informing them about, hey, I know you have this applicant. We want to make sure you consent to employing this person. This is what he's done.
What references is for?
Right. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, that is what references are for. They're informing them of what potentially
person you hiring.
Yeah. So I don't know. A whole slew of internet folks call
No,
it.
that's different. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
Especially like when you even doing something like as simple as Uber.
Mm-hmm.
You calling Uber.
I mean, Uber isn't as simple. You have people in your car.
I get it.
Who may be vulnerable. They may be drunk or under the influence.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, all asset. Like, he couldn't even work at McDonald's or something like that. Like, he was working at a fast food restaurant. They found out they said everybody's doing this, and they just,
Yeah, tough.
But, and that's not even to, like, get on him, but it's like, I do feel like, again, but basically the point is, like, if that person didn't come out, we never would have known until it was too late.
Yeah.
I've worked for employers, and I don't believe in, like, doing something, like, I think something that would be considered petty is, like, you and your manager didn't get along, and you tell people that your manager is a piece of work because you and them didn't get along. They got along with everybody else, but you and them had to be. That's a little bit different. But I'm talking about a situation where it's like, no, this person actually is, like, like a root of something, and it's affecting everybody, but everybody just doing their job and blah, 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 and they still hiring more people on, and they coming in like, I hate this industry. And it's like you said, like, that's what I'm more like thinking about, like her, like, I appreciate the tonight's conversations, the episodes that I've seen. But it might be important because what if I'm, if I'm doing the video work and they're like, I'm looking for somebody, I'm like, I love tonight's conversation. Let me go ahead and work for them.
Right.
And then I go into them, I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, what?
That's where the informed consent comes in, because, like, she's informing us so we can consent to continue to follow this platform, continue to engage and support this platform or not, continue to show up at the shows, download the app. Like, she's like, this is what it was like working with them or working under him, however you want to put it. So I value that. I told you that before. Like, I value informed consent. I feel like it's like one of my life principles. It's just, I think situationally it's hard. I think it's.
In what situations though? That's what I'm trying to think of.
I think mostly when it comes to, like, any form of, like, physical or sexual abuse.
I get that.
I think those situations are harder than other types of abuse.
That makes sense.
But overall, it just depends on the person too. Like, some people have that bold spirit or that courage or build up that courage, and some people just don't have it in them.
Yeah.
So I don't hold it against people too much for not speaking up, because I don't know them personally and, like, what their capacities are and how they operate and what their circumstances are. Would I like for them to speak up so it wouldn't happen to other people, no matter what the circumstances, as far as, like, whether it's physical abuse or work abuse or whatever? It's just, I wouldn't hold it against them. It's sad.
Yeah.
Because it, like you said, it can harm others, but I don't know.
Well, I'm not, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying hold it against him. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to make that notion that, like, you're a bad person if you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying, for me, and specifically in the context of, like,
the work environment.
Like work environment, maybe even relational.
Yeah, friendships, relational,
ex-partners, stuff like that. Like that. When it comes to, like, stuff like, you've been assaulted in a sexual way, that's different, because obviously that's a whole nother level, and that's something that I can't even imagine. I'm not going. I can understand and empathize why somebody in that situation is like, I'm trying to suppress this. Mm-hmm. Like,
I'm still navigating this.
Well, I just read an article about a lady who she pioneered, like, she was one of the pioneers, and they used a weird term to say like that, but like, of, like, at the time, like, going out and calling people out who were, the R word to her back in Alabama. And I think in 2011 they actually made it about Alabama with, I don't know, Pyrrhic victory, but, like, Alabama, like, gave an official apology to her for failing her before she passed away, because in, like, the 1940s, two dudes took her friend, did what they did, and threw him on the side of the road. She goes to the police department, tells them who did it by name, known by name, pull them. That's the guy. And he basically said, no, I paid her for that. And because of that, she couldn't have a kid no more. So she already had a kid, couldn't have a kid no more. They ended up moving, kid gets in a car accident. Now she got she got no kids no more. Husband left her because of that. Like, lost her life. And You know what I'm saying? But if they said if she never did that, because she did that, it gave like, I won't use the word permission. It gave like reason for other black women to feel the same way to do it because they've experienced the same thing. Like her friend didn't do it. Yeah. She did. Mm-hmm. So it's like it gave her reason to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, but I understand like that's a hard situation. Like I can't imagine being in a situation like that and being, you know, I can see why you be like, I want to forget all that. Yeah. Let's go ahead and just live our lives, not keep reliving it. I'm speaking specifically in the context of like, you know, work, relational, you know, like if I know that a friend is a mooch, I should inform my other friends.
Let me know.
Be careful.
Let me hold your hand when I tell you this.
Yeah.
Y'all about to go out this weekend. Be prepared.
And I tell people all the time, like, listen, be careful, man. Like I said, man,
he gonna forget his wallet.
Not even that. He going out, know he don't got no money, but I ain't gonna stop him from ordering as much as he want to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's people I know in my life that's like that. Or like, you know, and yeah, I'm not gonna say it again. That's what I say. I don't like using the word obligation, but if I know that, if you have that information, you should let people be privy to that. Yeah. Allow them to make their own decision. Mm-hmm. And that's always like, hey, you're gonna do what you want to do, but this is just my truth in my situation. And here you go. Same thing with employers. Like I remember, you know, like I don't have nothing truly negative to say about like my old job. It's just they just was it was. It was the people. But you know, something like security, I tell people to watch out for security for sure, because for them they care more about the contract than they care about the person. If they got to fire you to keep a contract, they're gonna fire you. This is what it is. I'm gonna let people know that. Don't think that the company really stand by you. No, they don't. They stand by that contract because it's hard for them. What the competition is easier for somebody else to go to another contract and just keep it going. Yeah. So they rather you gonna get up out of here because you, even though I know you probably didn't do nothing truly wrong, they said if I fire you, we can keep the contract. So you gonna have to get up out of there. And I've been the product of that. And they didn't even at that time they didn't even pay me, dog. I had never had one check. Mine I've been working. Mine I was just young and dumb as well. Like never had 4 checks. I'm waiting like I'm 4 checks deep and they never got a check. And I'm like, no, like
oh no.
And they're like, oh. I get, like I said, because I'm thinking when they give you the address, they put the mail them. Because the other company I work for, they mail the check to your house, and you catch a check. Oh no, we just keep them at the front desk. And y'all never told me that I'll keep them at the front. So I went to the front desk and had like 4-5 checks, and the person didn't even know about that until they was firing me. And I'm like, you know, I'm confused. I never got paid. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I worked 2 jobs. I've been living off my second job. I ain't never got paid by y'all. And they had 4 backlog checks, and I said, this is nuts. So stuff like that, I'll let y'all know. If y'all ever go, I ain't gonna say the company name. Actually, I will say the company. Nah, I ain't gonna say the company name. I don't remember the company name. But it's a green security company in Fresno, California that y'all need to watch out for. I know they logo green. I don't remember. It was like I was like 18, but I vividly remember getting in trouble for nothing. You know. Anyways, but yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate her for being brave and speaking out and sharing her experience, because I'm sure she's still navigating things in her own as well, because it seemed like it wasn't exactly planned. It seemed like it was pretty, is it called abrupt? How do you say it? Abrupt.
Yeah.
For all of them. So it's like,
do you feel like the fans deserve an answer?
I don't know if we deserve an answer. As far as like, because they were in the comments like, why did y'all all leave? Da, 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 da. Like for me,
it's weird being a fan,
right? Because you feel like you're owed something, and it's just like these are these people's lives. They chose to.
Is there an argument though for them being owed something if they're giving you money and paying to go to these events and low key supporting your lifestyle? Do they not? I mean, I'm not maybe not owed, but like. I can't get an explanation, like a brief one at least. Like, I just get the I'm no longer with the business. That's it.
Oh yeah, moving on to better endeavors.
Yeah.
Look, when I started seeing Kitty, right? That's her name, Kitty. I started seeing her videos randomly start popping up on my YouTube. I was like, I don't follow her, but she got a video pumping out every few days. I was like, I know she from tonight's conversation, but I didn't know she even made content on her own, you know? And then Fontaine was in every video. I said, so they doing side projects. That's cool. Like, that's just something more I can support them on, right? And then after that, after the fourth video, all the statements came out about the women. I said, oh, they were trying to draw, they fans in, like, look, we still got something going, even though we leaving this platform. So I don't know. I don't know if they should have been like, hey, go follow us on YouTube because we're leaving and this is why. They just put it out there like, y'all already know where to come type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of weird. I think I needed like some type of transition. But I don't think it was old to me though. I don't know. Maybe I have a different attachment style when it comes to folks.
Yeah.
Than like the majority online.
Yeah. I could just see it from the person's perspective. Like, even if I'm just watching, you only getting paid. Like, like you only have your lifestyle because we exist, right? It's like, yeah, it's parasocial where it's like, yeah, I don't know y'all. I just make content for y'all. But we've seen that backfire where it's like, okay, well, we gonna dip then? It's like, well, hold on now. Don't move too quick. Again, maybe it's not old. I just don't know. I don't think it's true that people are old, but I do see the argument why they might feel that way because without us,
like, yeah,
without people viewing, without people actually like, because I don't subscribe to a lot of stuff, but stuff I do subscribe to, I don't know if I feel necessarily old. I feel like I get what I get in that moment, but if my platform, if I'm subscribed to a platform, the platform's shutting down, can I at least get a reason why it's shutting down so I can have some closure? I'm just going like, oh, I just, the $55 a month or $20 a month or $10 a month I was giving y'all.
Yeah,
that's just it.
That was a similar conversation. Do you know who Raven Elise is?
Very, very vaguely.
Okay, so she went through this phase recently of I think I'm gonna quit YouTube because I enjoy short form content more. So she been building up her TikTok and her Instagram. This is before the ban and stuff started happening. She really started getting like a huge following on both of those platforms. Mm-hmm. And she was like, honestly, YouTube has been kind of like low key negative. Like every time I go to my comments, y'all telling me like, oh, we're tired of this type of content, but this is the type of content she enjoys creating now. And they wanted her to do like mommy and me content, which is like part of how she got started. She was like, I don't want to have my child in every video anymore. Like she's gotten to an age where I realize like she doesn't need to be like blasted across the internet like that. Now that she's a wiser mom, she's like, I pick and choose when she's in my content. And she was just like, just seeing constantly seeing like comments like that, she was like, it just made me discouraged to even post on here no more. And so basically, I guess people felt like she owed them me and mommy content type of thing. And that she owed them answers about like why her content has transitioned. So she has a podcast which she's banking on. So now in her podcast, she answered all the questions from the comments that people feel like they owe answers to, which like now she's making double funds because people are going to the podcast now to get all the inside scoop. But it's just like, if she would have never done it, like what she really owed them to be like, this is why I don't want to make mommy and me content,
Yeah, I don't think, again, I personally don't feel like they're owed, but I see the argument.
Yeah.
I see the argument. And it's a little bit different when you making content and people just watching because, you got the easy part. You just watching, and no disrespect. I know it's not easy to watch in videos, but you got to watch through ads and stuff like that. Ads is how you make money, stuff like that, whatever. I was more thinking about like specifically their platform. They subscribe.
Oh yeah.
As a rap, it's kind of like when people. So could we think about like what's his name?
Corey Kenshin.
No. He deserves to do whatever he want to do. We support Corey around here. Post Malone.
Okay.
People feel like he played everybody because he came on with his hip hop rap career, and then when he got on, switched up and hit the country. Some people might feel like, dang, you did us in. We was subscribing and doing all these different things in support of more of this, and you put a 180 and left us high and dry. Do they feel old to him making more music? The same thing? Technically, no. But I could see why they might feel that way because, like, dang, but you wouldn't even be in the position to make that pivot if it wasn't for us.
Right.
And not saying again to her, she don't gotta explain nothing. If I don't want my kid online, I don't want my kid online. But you gotta understand the people how they might feel the way they feel, and at least address it. My thing, maybe not tell people, but address it. Hey, listen, I know y'all probably mad about it, but I'm not making that content no more. I feel this way. And that's a good enough answer. Or they say no is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
I don't got to give y'all the complete breakdown. I'm not saying make an hour episode, but you know.
Yeah, like you said, it's a weird times we live in.
You know?
I never feel old by any of the people I invest in.
Me either. I don't care about them folks.
No, I care about them, but I also realize they're human. Like, they're human. They have their own lives. So it's just like,
but we have our own lives.
we don't dictate. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's always comes up for us on this.
It's just, I mean, it's the real deal Holyfield. Some people don't
have lives. Like, that is their life.
Yeah, like for me, I can't knock somebody who watch TV all the time because the way I live my life, I just know something I do. But some people, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They sit, either get off work, and they watch TV for the rest of the day. And they're not wrong for that because if that's how you want to enjoy your life, you do. Mm-hmm. But again, we got to be real. If them people ain't sitting there watching TV and paying for that cable, the people on that TV not getting paid. That's just... So it's like, yeah, you know, they hear the term, I owe it to the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, y'all just going to get what y'all get and don't throw a fit. No. Especially in an era now where everything's so granular. Mm-hmm. Now I can invest. I don't have to buy cable no more. I can actually buy Disney Plus. That's all I want to buy. Mm-hmm. You know, so if
and everybody getting their own apps, like, I'm directly paying you for your app.
Yeah.
It's not through no other network, no third party, you know.
Yeah, again, you can accept that people are going to drop off when I change content. Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
Yeah. That was her thing too. She was just like,
you're supposed to expect the dip when you change content.
If you leave, you know, it's been good.
There's another Mommy and Me content creator out there for you.
Right. She was like, it's been a good, 15 years? Take care. You know?
Yeah.
So,
well, shout out to though I don't know if I should say shout out. We hope the best to tonight's conversation. Shout out to Keita Rose, Kitty, and Trip Fontaine. I hope y'all do well in y'all next endeavors. I'm looking forward to the Trip content. I haven't watched the podcast with Trip and Kitty yet, but it looks, from what I've seen, it looks like it got positive remarks.
Yeah. So
I'm very excited about that. And I can't wait to see what's going on. But
can't wait to see how they live out their legacy.
For real. Y'all need to take a drink for every time we said legacy.
Yes,
episode.
please.
Watch it back.
Or if you don't drink, something.
Yeah, you can drink water. You can drink water.
Yeah.
Take a sip.
Water. We're endorsing water. Stay hydrated.
Absolutely. Drink water until July, because this one I'll be back out there drinking the liquor. But thank you guys again for watching this episode of the Special Friends Podcast. If you enjoyed it, think about subscribing. I really appreciate it. I'm your boy Wuzi, and this is
Eareoke.
And we out of here.
Peace.
You're my special friend.